Welcome back to Lord of the Rings Farming Simulator. So let's check the collectibles. We got ourselves a feather.
Bird feather. We likes tasty birdses.
Oh.
Yes.
So is Gollum gonna eat the bird?
Oh, well, why not to get some emotional shock out of the audience?
Elves speak elf. Okay, have we actually seen any elves?
Yeah, later, Dwips.
At the beginning,
Spies of Sauron. In Middle-earth, animals and plants are sentient beings that can take sides in the struggle between good and evil. For example, Gandalf states that the enemy has many spies. Even some birds are on his side. The Valar responsible for growing things created the plants and animals. However, when her husband, the great craftsman, created the dwarves, she becomes jealous and wanted the animals and plants to be able to protect themselves as well. Therefore, later beings like the great eagles and the ants were endowed with intelligence and wisdom. They could make moral decisions, and some of them turned bad, like Old Man Willow. Therefore, simple animals like birds or even plants can become evil or corrupted, as is already stated in The Hobbit.
This paragraph is taken from the Silmarillion, in case you need to know. To the origin of the world.
The Candleman. Repentance is a recurrent topic in Tolkien's writing. Even Saruman gets it offered from Gandalf. You know, it's interesting to think that a hobbit could contend with the will of Sauron. There are none who can. Before ultimately being dispelled from the Order of the Wizards, then can men and women who have worked for Sauron be redeemed? Well, there is a chance. And betrayed his old and noble family in Ithilien, the Candleman has been in Sauron's service for a long time. Nevertheless, he still remembers the life of his family, sometimes yearning for it, but while he's intimidated and controlled by Sauron's totalitarian system, turning his back on the Lark Lord is not an easy choice to make.
We're trying to build up a bit of ambiguity with the Candleman, in a sense that his evil is dictated potentially by selfishness and opportunity, but don't get too attached to it.
So basically, according to, and I know because of the history of my country and everything, so basically Middle Earth works like a fascist dictatorship. Basically.
I mean, remember, again, Sauron being evil and everything, remember, Tolkien fought in World War I. He clearly wanted to base the idea of the Sauron's rising and swarming the rest of the world, kind of like the alliance between the Austrians and the Germans.
So basically, Grashnig here becomes our sidekick, I guess.
Pedro, my head is spinning.
Well, I'm trying to move so I can keep my brain active too.
Oh, I get
that,
but
you're keeping your brain active and you're making Tio's go all over the place.
Also, I was noticing that the orc was walking in place.
Yes. You know, if it
Pay
were
no
me,
attention behind the curtain too. Go on.
I guess if it were me, I would have gone cinematic and have him slowly circle around the room.
He doesn't like his pets to be spoiled, does he?
Don't test my patience.
Come on, Grashnig.
Do we ever get any hint of what happened in all those years, or do we just assume Gollum's been doing the same thing?
Apparently, we're supposed to assume that he and the Candleman have been training the bird for years.
Also, Christ, that Poppin.
Must be patient. Not easy to find new flowers.
Just like in Regular Retribution.
I mean, I know I shouldn't even be surprised that we have Poppin of all things at this point, but it's just like every problem just keeps dogpiling bit after bit.
It seems like the only thing that the Candle Woman does in this game is just bitch at other people.
Don't you mean the cruel?
Sorry, the cruel woman. That's it.
Mean guy.
I mean, I get it. It's through Calm's lens, but I wish that they would flesh out these characters more.
Like a Gollum problem to me.
Okay, Teo, correct me. Okay. While I do agree that it's clear that these people write the books, that doesn't sound like something Tolkien would write. Sounds like that feels so
like a modern write.
Yeah.
It reminds me of those weird bits of moments in God of War Ragnarok. You can tell they were written by Anthony Birch.
Sounds like a Gollum problem to me. That's not how a Lord of the Rings character works. Like,
I think it's even more jarring because this is supposed to be the Tolkien verse.
Stupidity never runs dry. Wonder who reported all of this though.
Maybe pretty funny, but
Yes, who? And this one? Another fool from the desert? You work up here, so I can keep an eye on both of you.
it's weird because, like you guys have said, it's abundantly clear that these writers read the books, and yet for whatever reason they felt a line like that would work. It's so weird.
I don't get it. Like, shoot, maybe they had completely different writers working on the main game, and it was
they
like
might
the
have thought
nerds
it
they
would
got
have
doing
been
the lore.
funny, but no, it's just not working.
No.
I mean, I'll admit, I would have been fine with that line if it were like in a Jackson-verse game, but again, remember, they made a big deal that this is the Tolkien-verse,
Well, I get the
so...
thought process, Joe, but the idea in order to not make things too completely bleak, to have at least a minimal moment of levity of some kind. It's just a matter of how it was pronounced. You know, the idea of the behavior of a character is not technically wrong per se. It's just, you know, the way it's expressed.
You could have just said, well, that sounds like it's your problem, or something like that. That would have worked just fine. But no, it like...
Comment. In a better game, I'd wonder if we were nitpicking, but here it's just one of many.
Like I said, this game dies.
problems.
Like I said, this game is one of those games that died of a death by 1,000 cuts type of scenario. Yay, herding more cattle! The Lord of the Rings, ladies and gentlemen, guiding a fat guy in teaching him how to herd cattle.
It's just what I always wanted in hell.
Me personally, this game kind of fails the sniff test. You know, the very first thing you come across, it's, well, look at it.
Anyway,
I mean, even by like double or single A standards, this game looks like shit.
so
How does this work?
here's the basic gist of it too. You move the camera around with the right analog stick, and as you do, it changes whatever spots you can send your companion to, right? So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use the grass neck to attract the cattle there. There you go. And then you tell him to go back real quick so he won't get run over.
Get the lever.
And then you tell him to get the lever, and that's it.
And conveniently, they don't chase directly after him like
Yeah, I
they did
don't
with
remember the
Gollum
beast behaving like that when
because-
Gollum had to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, gameplay-wise, I get it. It's to make it so that this mission isn't a pain, but lore-wise, why? Why are they easy with this guy? Do they just inherently hate Gollum?
Help. Smeagol helps Grashnik, yes? And Grashnik helps Smeagol.
Gollum, you are expected in the tower.
So basically, this entire bit was just so that the game can teach you how the companion mode works.
Ooh. Oh wait, the
Is
Candleman's
it-
daughter.
is it-
Yeah, that's the
Is it-
that's
is
the.
Is it entertaining?
No, it is not. It is not. See, here's the thing. At least in the Zelda games, when we have to herd cattle or something along those lines, it's okay. Put it this way: it's usually either an optional minigame, or if it's something like in Twilight Princess, where Twilight Princess you actually do have to herd cattle into a place. At least there's fun music to go along with it.
An actual fun gameplay.
And the gameplay, and the game overall is more interactive than this. This, on the other hand, it's just like not only does it not doesn't even seem like this is not. Nobody wants to play a Lord of the Rings game where you herd cattle. Like that's ridiculous. Also, what is wrong with your face? Like.
That is what I wish to hear.
Kind of reminds me of that character from League of Legends. I think it's Sindri.
See, now that guy, this guy here, this guy, it's a good thing, like Taylor said, it's a good thing the doors in Middle-earth are huge, because that sounds like an inconvenient suit to me.
Well, that's probably why the doors were made huge, because Soren doesn't want his mooks to be made fools of by lack of door space.
I can imagine a Lord of the Rings parody making it so that people bang into doors with their...
Gollum is about to describe Bilbo.
Very dark. Where we met, very dark. Hardly saw him. Little thief.
So he was a little creature then, like you.
Small, yes, small and fat. Barely got away, didn't it? But it cheated.
And yes, technically he did.
I guess that is
Did
the
you pick-
truth from a
Did you
certain
pick
point
lie
of
or
view.
truth?
Truth.
He chose truth because he was speaking in Smeagol's voice.
Not to mention the
couldn't-
description that he's accurate to what Bilbo did.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because you know how normally in games it flashes the option you picked.
It's simple, it's simple,
When you
Dwebs.
selected, it tells.
It's simple, Dwebs. Gollum, the subtitles, notice the subtitles always have the name of the person speaking. Gollum is written in green letters, and Smeagol is written in white letters, so it's color-coded for you.
Chooses how he sneaked away from us, the filthy cheat.
I love how even Smeagol the Nice One still hates Bilbo.
Bright eyes, and it had filthy brown hair. Why does Master ask?
You need not worry about that. Say hello to your bird.
Not like that'll really come into play in the actual Lord of the Rings trilogy anyway.
It's strongly implied that this is how Sauron actually gets the idea of who to search in the Shire.
Worships you.
Send a
Now
Nazgul
it's time to
for.
put that devotion
I
to
always
use.
honestly perceived that as just Sauron sensing the ring, so that's what
No. That's remember, even in the movies, it's specifically told the fact that it's thanks to the war Sharon Baggins that Sauron discovers the location and where to go. It's just that this game tries to elaborate a bit more to try to have Gollum describe what a hobbit looks like.
This section.
See, it was Gollum's will all along. Also, look, our little bird has grown
See
up.
that jar hanging below me? There's a figurine hidden inside.
Alright, so I'm about to put out what feels like a contradiction to me.
Not for your bird. You will make him fetch it for me. But first, a beast must learn obedience.
Hold on. You're telling me that only now we're teaching obedience to this bird? Then what the hell have you been doing in the intervening years then?
Like how long? Okay, again, I'm not an expert in ornithology,
Years.
but
It said years later. Go on.
yeah, and okay,
Birds don't live that long, do they?
actually they do. It depends on the species,
Guess it depends
but
which birds, yeah.
the average lifespan of a bird is 10 plus years usually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Birds can actually live between 4
Sure,
to
sure.
100 years depending on the species. So
Sure. That's
I
irrelevant to my
guess
point
by
though.
this-
Go on.
I was about to get it. Like, I understand this kind of concept about obedience should be done still where they're very young, and even if the implication is that this type of breeding is, grew through magic and as such, grows more slowly or learns things at a slower rate, it still feels odd that after these years this has to be told. It would have been more organically, if you ask me, if the Candleman says, call your bird like I taught you to do. That implies that has happened in the past. The player still has to be taught about the command, but there's a in-story perfectly good justification in why Gollum would have to do this.
That's the thing. That's the thing too. Even if the Candleman said that, the bird will disobey you the first few times you try to, as he's doing right now, and trying to, which again obviously would imply that this is apparently their first time, or at the very least, one of their first times trying to teach him obedience.
Well,
so
I tried.
it's one of those things where it's just like, no, I get that. It's just that it's one of those things where, again, the plot feels poorly thought out, because if you're thinking about it, you start to notice such strong contradiction. Like, did Frank Miller write this? Like, where there's an incredibly obtuse time scale that makes no sense. It's just
Like, okay, the problem I have is the time skips not only leave us confused as to what time it actually is, but it also really makes it hard to care at some points about really anything. Again, we know the outcome. Gollum will be free in time for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, so the idea should be to help us to get to care about the characters. Like, compare this to Shadow of Mordor or Shadow of War, essentially. Again, we knew what the outcome of Lord of the Rings was going to be, so the point was to get us to care about the characters introduced in that segment of time, so that we at least felt something of worth and wanting to see Talion and company succeed, which, in a sense, he finally did. But this, I can't bring myself to care. In a Gollum game, where arguably...
okay. So the basic idea is tell the bird to get this jar.
There you go. I love how instantaneous it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can just feel every corner being cut because this AAA game can't cut the mustard.
I'll argue can even cut butter, much less mustard.
Isn't mustard, less dense than butter?
Well, yeah, technically that is true. It can't cut water. I know that water can't be cut, but just...
You cannot cut a non-Newtonian fluid.
and you can cut ice, but you can't cut water.
Now that's right.
That's not how it works.
Jova, Raiden cannot cut a cat, apparently.
Yeah, that was weird.
Alright, so let's tell him to get the thing. See, the thing is, I was under the impression that maybe I would have to get it myself because it fell into a place where it seems like I could get it, but it doesn't actually, surprisingly. Alright.
I'll admit. Oh, okay, so there is some potential.
Okay, so so let me get this straight. We quote unquote trained but not really trained this bird for years, all so that this guy could get this figurine out of that jar.
Well,
that's
okay,
not
I think he
part
was
of
doing that as
training,
I think he was doing that as a test for us.
Yeah,
Oh,
what kind
okay.
of objects he can pick, you know.
But I do think that the point does stand, though. That it's weird that these years later we're only now teaching our birds.
That being said, Joe, but let's think about this from a practical standpoint. Can you imagine the cameraman telling one of the orcs, okay, you're going to climb up there and you're going to hang this jar with this figurine in there. Why, master? Don't ask me. I have a very specific vision.
You know, on that end, oh wise master, is it wise to be telling one of your most persistent prisoners all these secrets and managing this? Like, I mean, you want to be in charge of this stuff. Why don't you handle it? Instead of letting him know secrets that could arguably help him escape in the long run.
Stupid evil villain syndrome, where he just is so overconfident. I can just tell everybody my evil plans. It's not like anybody can stop me.
Hey, what was that other story where the bad guys fed information to their slaves that led to the slaves beating them? Alright, Battlefield Earth.
Alright, so now we bring back the bird to his cage in the Candleman's study. Bird, you...
Little shit.
I guess that's supposed to be foreshadowing for how Sauron will lose the war.
Not really.
Because it knocked over the model of his
the bird is
tower.
still young, so it's kooky the fact that, you know, still knocks things out.
Plot twist, in the different version of this game, of the Middle Earth, this bird defeats Sauron by pecking his eye with his beak. There you go. the Gollum's bird saves the day, ladies and gentlemen.
Jesus, that bird just loves to knock over everything.
Okay, I've seen enough Jade animations video to understand that some birds, even trained ones, tend to do that apparently, but...
and here we have a drawing of
Gollum.
of Gollum.
Oh, does it mean they have plans for us, or is that just their records keeping?
I mean, it's pretty clear at this point that the Candleman has a very weird kind of interest towards him. We could have just had him executed and everything, but he has been training him for years, having to do this weird bird stuff, you know, and is asking information about Bilbo, and he was actually about to ask information about the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I wonder.
Yeah.
Here's how
he is.
Here's how you easily defeat Sauron. Go, Blastoise! Hydro Pump! There you go. Sauron loses because it's super effective.
I mean, according to the Pokédex entry, it can pass through steel, so yeah. Dust in the wind.
What exactly are we looking for?
If I knew, I would have told you.
It's the daughter.
Wouldn't I? You search over there.
Yes, mistress.
Alright, so now let's keep him and find out what the daughter is up to, as in the cruel woman.
Yeah, she's...
Oh, sorry, the game lost his colour there for a second.
That's the detective mode.
How glitchy this game is.
Silver the Hedgehog was thinking for a second.
It's spying on the master.
Alright. So basically, obviously don't let anybody see you, otherwise the cruel woman would have you killed.
Nothing to see here.
What are those footsteps I heard?
Actually, Gollum is pretty... Again, for all the bizarreness of the game and the portalization, the sound design makes sure that Gollum doesn't really produce much sound when he's sneaking around. There is that.
Kudos to that.
Again, usually a game, stealth games like, for example, Thief, will actually try to incorporate sound design into it by having your footstep producing a different sound on the surface, encouraging you to walk on something like carpets, because of course that produces less sound. You know, that's pretty cool.
Well, remember, like,
Your games did not do much about it.
which is sad because that fucking Metal Gear 2 on the MSX invented that shit. So you'd think it'd be very easy into today's hardware. Alright then. And now we have 2 destination markers?
Wait, is she using the toilet?
Oh, 3 in fact.
Someone's
3 in fact.
flushing.
That was more of a beast roar, but I agree that it comes out of nowhere, but it wasn't really associated with the characters.
One of the orcs had to use the John.
Yeah, let's go with that. And basically, it's telling you to go under the table in order to listen to her, what she has to say.
Which is weird because we should be able to listen to her even just below this table in general.
It's more of a case of get to the scripted point so that the
Yeah.
dialogue can start.
Yep.
Bloody hell.
It is. I guess there's 3 places we can add since there are free quest arrows showing up.
If I recall correctly, the arrow serves basically to... The arrows in this case serves to basically preemptively foreshadow the locations you will go for this mission. It's still weird though, because as we noted also in previous parts, they have their own fair share of bugs where they don't show up correctly, potentially they're too small, or, you know, they're just not conveying well enough.
I love a game where even the things that are supposed to help me can very well mislead me due to bad programming.
Message from Sonora, one of his
Oh my god, the lighting on her face is atrocious.
Shire, meet at noon. Shire.
You want to look more clearly at those papers, honey? With the way your head is angled, it looks like you're staring off into space.
Alright, so now we have to follow her without being noticed. So basically, the way it works is if you get too close, as indicated by that meter, she'll see you. So you have to follow her, but at the same time, you also have to keep your distance.
I love how so far the conversation can be summed up as, I have a great and meticulous plan. What is it? Well, follow me to this other room so that I may converse and talk it more later.
This is the kind of thing that Fly 4 Thieves in Time parodied with the mission where you have to tell the paradox.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
That's okay, fortunate. Oh yeah, this bit. So guess what, guys? The game is now unwinnable.
Oh, it's soft locked.
It saved the checkpoint. It always saves the checkpoint in a way where she goes away too far and I lose. So
Game design is my passion.
That is that's amateurish.
So I have to restart the level from the beginning.
Note, usually softlocks are supposed to be something that is absolutely caught in game testing.
Oh wait, I think you just figured it out, Joe. But there was no play testing.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
was about to say, I don't think there was much testing, unfortunately.
I mean, I know that probably should have been obvious from the get-go, but I at least wanted to hope that they wouldn't be so incompetent as to pretty much fall for one of the oldest trappings in
At
the
the very least, you
industry.
can skip the cutscenes.
Wouldn't I?
Mm-hmm.
You search over
God, thank goodness for that.
Didn't disturb his books. He keeps them
All right, let's try this again.
You know, again though.
Oh, by the way, can we talk about how the AI in this game is terrible? Look at this. All I have to do is hide behind the table, even though he saw me. He will not do anything. He will not draw me from under the table. I can just wait, and he will eventually just pretend he never even saw me.
It's
let's be
just like in Outlast.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not expecting the AI of a Gollum game to be on the level of Phantom Pain, but come on, like at least program it so that if the guy saw me, he can drag me from under the table.
you all
I mean, I guess it would have been too expensive to give the AI that action. Like, keep in mind, they make it so that if the AI spots you, that's an immediate game over. And sometimes they don't even show the animation of them grabbing you, which just screams to me we couldn't be bothered to program in more than these few AI actions for them. Or, again, since this was their first kind of game, they didn't have the know-how for it. Like, okay, whether it's due to incompetence or just not having enough time to program or codify this stuff here, this is an absolute travesty, because, okay, for the sake of my sanity, I have to hope that the devs looked at this and were ashamed knowing that they had to squirt this out, because, I'm sorry, if they actually thought this was going to fly, oh, I guess he can spot you underneath. Or was that just because he spotted you before you went under the table?
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, I'd tell you if I knew. Let's collect that message.
You know, it says something that even the checkpoint system, which is a saving grace, even that is broken. Like,
I get the feeling that's why they gave you an option to restart level, because usually these kinds of games only have a restart from checkpoint option. They don't have an option to restart the level, right?
So what you're saying is, you know what's funny? Because I theorized that the whole being able to restart from the checkpoint thing was a last-minute save. God, imagine if the restart level was also a last-minute save, because they actually did know about that problem. But instead of properly fixing it, just went, well, let's let them restart the level.
Yep, basically.
You know, again, I can see a bit for this being called the modern Superman 64, because, Jesus, this is legit one of the most broken games we played in, I'd say, years.
I'm gonna have to disagree. You know, this game still ain't got shit on Superman 64.
I'm trying to think of something else that, like, I'm pretty sure there are countless of those asset flip titles. Like, the entire, you know, video game library of Gilson B. Pontes is worth than this, arguably, even if it looks technically better.
Although the difference is that Gilson B. Pontes is technically like cheap as crap overall. But I do.
That's a matter of expectation. I'm talking about actually playing products.
I guess if we're to go by that length, there's technically a whole horde of games that are worse than this, which is
shovelware. Give another example.
And yeah, now this time the checkpoint system had mercy on me, so now I actually have proper time.
You got a glitch before, and
no, what happened?
was actually how the game actually planned it.
No.
What happened last time is that it saved the checkpoint at a point where the crew had already got past that door, meaning she was already way too far away to the point where I lose automatically if she goes too far away, right? And since the checkpoint was saved as she was about to give me a game over, right? I got soft locked into a game over, eternal game over loop. So it's one of those cases where the developers didn't think properly about saving the about which specific spots save the checkpoint.
The saving grace and problem of the checkpoint is that it seems to be treated as like a save state, exactly, as in everything is in the exact same state that was when the game chose to save at that point.
I guess if I'm going to give the game one positive thing, is that the PS5 version that I'm playing does feel like it was optimized for the system, because as you can see, the load times outside of, you know, loading a new arena, like when you're loading the checkpoint, is actually instantaneous. So while the load times could still be smaller, like there should be no load times period, but at least it does feel like there was an attempt to use the SSD, at least, which is more than I can say for the PS5 version of Life is Strange True Colors. So there is that.
I mean, I played a little bit of that on the PS5. It's not like the loading times were...
No, they weren't. It's just that for a game that's small in scale, like the PS5 SSD should be perfectly capable of just eliminating load times period with that. I mean, obviously we know the reason. The PS5 version became one of was added as part of the lineup later in the development, so it was too late to properly optimize it completely. Although I will give credit to Daedalic, there was at least an attempt to use the PS5 SSD with this, so there is that.
Again, I guess if I can give this game the most backhanded compliment ever. In a sense, it is kind of hilarious seeing how bad this game is. Like, it is legit a point of so bad, it's fun to rip apart. And granted, this might just be coming from the fact that I didn't have to play the flipping game, so that might help in that regard. Pedro, as somebody who has played this game, would you say that it's a game so bad it's actually kind of entertaining?
No, I found this game annoying as fuck because it can be very obtuse when it comes to progressing. You know, because a lot of times the game will make what you're supposed to do next very obtuse and poorly conveyed. So it can get very frustrating actually progressing in this game because
I can tell. It's kind of a bit like the same that I got after I played through Golden Axe Beast Rider.
I will say this, though. Another similarity to Superman 64, I think I can count on one hand the amount of stuff that's not broken or can break at times commonly in this game.
So is that the actual...
Let me put it now. Okay, since you gave me that power, Jova, as someone who played both games, I can tell you this: I'll take the worst of this game over the warehouse level from Superman 64. I'll tell you that much.
I can definitely believe that. Like, you know, I say this game is comparable to Superman 64. I don't say it's worse than Superman 64.
Is that like the secret ending? We get Sauron arrested by the police.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah. That's a joke I would make. Reaction: your favourite series is the villain just getting arrested by the police.
Tail was referencing Superman 64, where we literally take Darkseid to the police. So
I can just imagine Gollum pushing Sauron just to a policeman.
That line is very telling. That line is very telling. Father's too busy with his books. So basically, honey, Daddy never hugged you enough, did he?
Yeah.
Also, they're not even bothering animating the guards grabbing Gollum at this point. It's just, there he is, seize him! Like, jeez Louise.
That's basically what ultimately will, as you know, you probably have guessed is happening. Candleman is gathering information for himself. I'm not sure if it's about to properly to betray Sauron, but you know, still definitely to gain an advantage of information. But his daughter wants to snatch those and use them for her own game in terms of, you know, potential usurper father.
The thing about this game is that it sets up potential plot threads and character arcs. Like, for example, there's this thing about what the cruel woman hates her daddy, but this never goes anywhere. Like, because when Gollum escapes from this place, all of this potential storyline involving the Candleman and the cruel woman and anything else that's going on here just gets completely forgotten.
Have you finished the game yet, Pedro?
Not yet, no.
Just wait up.
Oh, really? It comes back? Okay.
Well, again, that's probably should serve a test. We should actually wait a bit more, you know, until we're done with the game for telling.
Oh, also, what the hell happened there? Like, I swear, Gollum was flying for like half a second there. Like.
Yeah, the clipping.
Yeah, okay, from what I've observed so far, if I were to compare this to, say, again, the Shadow of War duology, as I'll call them, the difference is like, well, yeah, we were playing as essentially an OC who met up with characters from the franchise, but even still, it did feel like the story was trying to build up.
Hold on, I'm waiting for the guy to, you know, forget that he saw me. Because what happened was that guard saw me. And when
the entire convoy stopped. Okay.
Yeah. So, however,
wow.
fortunately, Theo, since the guards apparently have the memory of a fucking ant,
they are orcs after all. I'm most surprised that the cruel woman doesn't, you know, tries to tell or something.
Yeah, Hitman, this game isn't.
Speaking of which, what gives? I thought that the moment you're spotted, the game's supposed to be over.
I'll take this over being, you know, even more dickish, Jova.
That's fine, but it's inconsistent, which is never a good thing you want.
Or like scripted. That's the.
So now we have to find and kill Snara before the cruel woman gets there.
The game only works in the way it wants to do, and it's not even a matter of the objective is to encourage you to strategize or to guess correctly the path, but instead to, you know, be like a good team soldier and move along the predetermined that they want you to do.
Pretty much.
Yep. Alright, everybody. So tune in next time where we climb like our life means it, because we have to get there before the cruel woman does. Because she plans on doing something.
Stuff.
Something. I don't know what, but
Now,
maybe it's explained in Tolkien's writings when he was in kindergarten or something. I don't know. Maybe. Like
Okay, to be fair, maybe the plot will do something interesting with her, but I will say this. We're like 8 parts in, and despite her having shown up relatively early into it, I have not felt interested in her. Granted, I have not really felt interested in almost any character aside from Gollum because the game fails or just outright chooses not to do stuff that draws up on their characters. It's more them giving tasks. Like, hopefully this goes somewhere in the long run, because otherwise it would make the whole game feel like a waste of our time.
This feels like
at its broken nature.
This feels like a Gollum fanfic in a lot of ways.
I mean, technically, so
So we'll see you. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
yeah.